Welcome to Warmachine's Political Theater, a multiplayer arena requiring a blend of brains and brawn in order to secure victory. Plan your attack, make allies, defeat your enemies, then stab your allies in the back. This is Kommandant.
Hello and welcome back to the worst Warmachine channel on the internet. I'm Malorian and welcome to the Year of Kommadant. So this video is going to be talking all about the official rules rolling out here now in 2022 of how to play Kommandant, which is the 4-player version of Warmachine. Now, during this video, I'm going to be giving some reasons why you should be trying to play this game. I'm going to go over and I'm going to tell you exactly how the rules work. And at the end, I'm going to kind of answer some, frequently asked questions that I get around this format. So first of all, why does this exist? Why should you care about 4-player Warmachine? You've played 2-player Warmachine, you've played regular 75, you've probably even tried a little bit of Brawl Machine. Why would I want to change these fundamentals and be like, let's get 4 players playing against each other at the same time? This is not even like 2 versus 2, this is 4 separate players. Well, the number one reason why you want to be trying this is that it is seriously fun. It's one of those things that I cannot describe to you until you actually play the game. Sure, when you're playing with one other player, there's some certain things that you do because it's me versus you, and every action I take should be trying to beat you. But when I have 3 other opponents, well, then all of a sudden I have to threat assess. Like normally I would just attack the biggest thing on the one side, but do I attack this? Do I attack this? Do I guard against this? Do I make a deal with this player to be like, look, if I don't hurt you, can you go and do this? And then I can do this for you, right? All of a sudden that talking in politics means a lot more than what you see in a regular game. And these complex interactions are just amazing. If you think you can have fun with one other player, wait till you have 3 other players. So that's reason number 1, just the fact that this format is fun. Reason number 2, it is fantastic for new players. And what I mean by that is that if you're a new player coming into a game and you're like, okay, I brought my 75 points of models. I pieced these together in the last couple of weeks. What do you got? Oh, Agathon? Oh, I have no idea what that means. Let's see what happens. We all know it's going to happen in that game, and it is a major stomp down and a major feel bad for that new player. When they come into this situation here, everything is balanced. The idea that one player might be much stronger than the others really just results in the fact that, hey, look, this person brought Butcher 3 to this game, so let's go and punish them for it. Let's go and make sure we take out whatever we can. We're going to be working together. And so this natural balancing act occurs whereas normally the strongest player in a 2-player match, hey, if I'm stronger than you and it's only you, guess I win. But when I'm the strongest one here and there's 3 other people, chances are I'm not so strong that I can just dominate 3 other players. So yeah, now all of a sudden things get leveled out as we actually play the game. Here's actually now the 3rd reason why you need to play this, and which is it lines up perfectly with Brawl Machine. Brawl Machine is that great new format, 25 points. Hey, come in, play it. It's a great small way to play the game. It's faster, it's easier, and now you can be taking that same 25-point list and playing it in Kommandant. So if you already are in your community trying out Brawl Machine, you should now try out Kommandant because it's ready to go. Now, I've been talking a lot about that Kommandant stuff. Let's now actually talk about how you actually play the game. The very first thing you're going to be doing is making a list. And the list is pretty straightforward. It's 25 points. You get to actually go into theme, no restrictions. Now, this is a little bit different because in Brawl Machine, there's a few things on the epic list, right? You can't be taking huge bases. You can't be taking like the telekinesis casters and stuff like that. But here in Kommandant, like I said, thanks to that balancing act that we have there, if I walk in with Haley 2 and I'm going to do all these things, I can only do so much. And again, 3 other players, it all balances out. And again, somebody comes in with a huge base and a colossal. Hey guys, let's take that down. So you see these things all kind of work out. Okay, great. All 4 players now have 25 points. Fantastic. Next thing is setting up the board. You just lay down your 4x4 mat, super easy. Then take a 12-inch circle, put it down in the center. That's going to be the main place you're going to be trying to score. You're also going to be putting a flag in every single quadrant. So each of these flags are going to be 18 inches in from each of those deployment zones. And what that really then gives you is that main circle in the center and then 4 flags, one for each player, because each player is going to be getting their own quadrant. Now is the time to actually be trying to fill this in with some terrain, because this is an empty terrain board so far. Well, first, we have to figure out where people are going to be in these quadrants. So everybody rolls off. If you have some ability that lets you get +1 or a reroll, that applies to this right now. And then really, you're going to be putting the players down in that order. So what I mean by that is that whoever wins picks a corner. It doesn't matter what corner, they're all exactly the same. Then you just go clockwise around that. And then that's the way you're going to be down. You now know exactly which quadrant is yours. Again, though, I said now is the time for terrain. So starting with that first player, you could pick any terrain you want, as long as you know, like it's 6 inches or smaller. We don't want some like huge things being thrown on the table. And you can put it anywhere inside your quadrant, as long as it's not touching a scenario piece. You can't put a building on the flag. You can't go and put something in the center circle, anything like that. Just, you know, maybe, oh no, there's some shooting over there. Okay, let's go and put down a forest to block it. You know what? I want some cover, so I'm going to be putting a trench here. Basically, player 1 puts down 2 pieces. Player 2 puts down 2 pieces. Player 3 does that, then player 4. And now we're ready for us to actually go and deploy our army. Now, when it comes to actually deploying the army after that, the way it's going to work is that you get to place all these things here, all these different models that you have, within 12 inches of your actual corner. Now, that might not sound like a lot, right? I just got this little corner here, and then 12 inches, like a little quarter of a circle is really what I'm deploying in. But then again, your armies are relatively small, so you're going to find that fits in there pretty easily. I've not seen anything yet that does not fix. Past that, you're going to be having advanced deploy. So anything that's advanced deploy can be another 6 inches past that, basically 18 inches from the center. Now, really, we should be taking turns here. Player 1 deploys, player 2, player 3, player 4. But honestly, you're going to find that that doesn't even matter, because really, you're going to be deploying all your stuff kind of like in the center of that circle. And it doesn't matter if you take turns or not. It's really relatively going to be in the same spot. So I'd actually suggest that at least for the regular deployment, just like go ahead, deploy your things. Okay, now we'll do AD where things might get a little bit more complicated, and you might want to be doing that in order. Now, you might be asking, what about ambushers? How do ambushers work? Well, you can actually ambush, but you can only come off of the board edges of your own quadrant. So basically half the board on one way, half the board on the other way. And again, they'd be coming on turn 2. So now we've all deployed, we're all ready to play the game. How do you actually win this game? Well, the way that you win this game is by getting 3 points. The first player to get 3 points wins the game. Hurrah! The way that you score those points are in a couple of different ways. One, if you have a model in the center zone starting on turn 2, not the end of turn 2, very first player in turn 2 can do this. If you have at least have one model, any type of model, inside of that zone, and there is no contesting model, well, then you score that and you get a point. Hurrah! Okay, well, how about these flags? How do those work? Well, you can go and score any of the flags except for your own. You cannot score your own flag. You score those flags by running over, getting a model base to base with it, and if it's not contested by an enemy model within 4 inches, boom, you get to go and score that flag. But as soon as you score that 1 point, you take that flag off. You basically go and capture their flag, and you get that 1 point. Now, there's another way of getting points too, and that's killing enemy casters. So if I go over and I assassinate somebody's caster, boom, they're going to be dead, and now I'll grab 1 point from that. So those are the ways you're gaining the points. Again, if somebody gets the 3 points, they just win the game. But after 7 turns, whoever has the most points will win. But you're going to find that around turn 3 and turn 4, things are going to escalate quite a bit. You know, we did all of our testing, and we didn't find anything going to turn 7. So I don't think that's actually going to be a problem. Now, let's talk about some other things that are going on too, which is really forcing you to actually go and take advantage of this. And the very first thing is going to be is that there is a kill box. So again, starting on that turn 2, if your caster ends its activation so that it is completely within 12 inches of any board edge, then you're going to be taking 5 damage on your caster that can't be mitigated with focus, fury, essence, anything like that, and your caster can't be healed for a turn. That's bad. So that's forcing your caster more and more towards the center. However, there's another way you can get hurt, which is, again, starting on turn 2. If you have 0 models at the end of your turn inside that central circle, again, you'll be taking 5 points of damage on your caster and can't be mitigated, and you can't be healed for a turn. So a very big deal. Here's the other thing with that one kill box as well, is that increases 2 inches every turn. So it's 12 inches on turn 2, 14 inches on turn 3, 16 on turn 4, you get what's happening here. It's forcing everybody to the center, everybody to fight. So you're going to kind of find that, okay, like turn 1, turn 2, people are kind of like figuring out where they're going to be. And then turn 3, turn 4, things are getting crazy. People are dying. It's really interesting. Now, talking about things dying, one of the worst things that can happen in this game is that you take this big, strong battle group, and then you make a mistake, somebody goes and kills off your caster, and you're like, well, I guess all my things go inert or wild, or if you're infernals, they just disappear. I guess I do nothing this game. We don't want to be having those feel bads. So in that case where your caster dies, then your battle group is going to be going inert. So that means, sorry, not inert, they're going to be going autonomous. Inert's the thing that we want to avoid. So at autonomous, basically we don't go and get any more extra focus. We're not going to be dealing with any fury. We're not going to be dealing with any essence. Your model is basically just a model that's going to start walking around and attacking things. Things can be crippled as normal. It might be destroyed as normal, but at least you have some pieces to play with, and you're not going to be like, oh man, I made that mistake. Guess I'll see you guys in 2 hours, right? So that really helps, keeps you in the game. Otherwise, that's really everything that's happening in this game here of Kommadant. It is a wild time. It is a great way to get 4 people playing at the same time, and I really highly suggest you give this a try. We tested it all the way through December. I got a whole bunch of feedback. People loved it, and from that feedback, I made a few changes, and now this is good to go. So the full rules are down in the description below. This can be the end of this video. Go ahead and take those and play the game, but I'm going to go and quickly right now, for those who care, go over some frequently asked questions here at the very end. So question number 1, which is my frequently asked question, is, are you sure there's no restrictions? I mean, it really feels to me like if I take X army that I'm really going to be dominating with, like, you know, Butcher 3 or some big, huge Colossal or something like that. Yeah, I found that it is completely fine, because again, if you have 25 points of ultimate power and you cheese it as much as possible, realize that you're going to be up against 75 points all trying to fight against you. And whereas in a regular game on one-on-one, you can probably overpower them. Like I said, when it's now 75 points versus 25 points, you probably can't do that anymore. Second question I usually get: why would I not just take a bunch of shooting? It seems like everything's really dangerous in the center. Don't I just want to be taking a bunch of shooting just to kind of kill off everything? And, you know, like Sloan might be really good here. Yeah, Sloan can be doing really well, but those are the reasons why there's things forcing you there into the center. So if you want to stand back with Sloan and not engage anything else, you're going to be taking 5 points of damage on your turn because you have nothing in the center. And depending on where you are, that kill box might catch you as well. And that can kill you off very, very quickly. There might be a turn that you might be like, okay, I'm going to have to hold back to survive, but otherwise you really want to be in there. The other part of it too is remember that terrain. That terrain that you get to place down on there is also helping to mitigate some of these issues. So if you see that there's a Sloan player to your right, maybe between you and them, you're going to be putting a forest, maybe 2 forests, just to make sure that, look, I don't want to be shot by that Sloan. You just leave me alone and you go and deal with something else. All right. The next question I get asked here as well when it comes to this is, really? Any piece of terrain? Is that really fair? Can I just go and put whatever I want anywhere on my board? And the answer to that question is, remember, It has to be in your quadrant. It can't be touching a scenario piece. So you can't be putting the flag inside something. You can't be putting something blocking inside the center zone or anything like that. But otherwise, as long as it's a reasonable size, a roughly 6 inches or smaller, go ahead and go and put these wherever you need them. This is helping to balance the game so that there won't be those big, huge attacks and wiping somebody out. The last question I usually get asked about this here is around the flags. Like, are you sure this is the way that flags should be scored? Why do they have to disappear? Why can't I be scoring my own? Well, the thing is that because of how aggressive this is and how you're only going to 3 points, when we added the flags in, it can go to some really fast scoring. So remember, turns go around clockwise. So if I go and I attack the person to my left, or even let's say to the right, let's go to the right. I can go in there and I can destroy their stuff around the flag. I can score the flag. And if it stayed there, okay, I got it. Okay, you over here, it's your turn. Can you get all the way across the board? Probably not. I guess I score again. Okay, now can you get this flag? No, well, right there, again, only to 3 points, I might be just winning the turn right at that spot. Again, I could be attacking the other way around too, and if I can just crush them, if the other players can't do something immediately, I just win that game. So that's why we have things where you're not scoring your own flag, obviously, and the flags have to disappear. Otherwise, hey, if they're still there, you just win too quickly. The next question we get asked that's around scoring as well is it really fair that the first player pretty much gets a free point? So at that point, they can run up, they can run something into the zone, nothing's contesting. So is it fair that they're getting 1 point? I do think it is fair. And the reason why it is it already kind of starts the politics off. It sets off the game being like, okay, this person's in the lead. Maybe we should be talking about how to stop them from scoring anymore. And it really kind of starts that conversation. Here's really the other part of it though. If we don't get that early point in there, what you see players do is kind of like run up like a big, like heavy, like a centurion or something, and just put them on their corners of the zones and say, all right, I have something in the zone, so I'm not taking 5 damage and nobody's going to score. So now it's locked down and we can do whatever we want. And we kind of just stand back and do our own thing. And it's very defensive play. And it doesn't really make for a good game, to be honest. So again, by doing this way so that, hey, yes, you want to get in there because you want to be taking 5 points, and being the first player, boom, I can be getting this right away. Now it starts the ball rolling. Like maybe you just ran a solo in there. So now the next player is like, okay, if I can shoot and kill that solo, I can put something in and now I can get an extra point. And then so on and so on. And that escalates it and gets that fight going. So you'll see when you actually play it that it's actually very important for getting the game going. Otherwise, that's really the main questions I got that were maybe like, oh, is this part of the game really the way you want it to be? And again, thank you to all the people out there that played games, gave me feedback. It was fantastic to see all this interest. And now I'm really looking forward to 2022 being their year of Commandant. So welcome, give it a play. I'm going to be having the rules down below that's going to be taking place and being in effect for all of 2022. During that time, please feel free to give me more feedback. I love seeing battle reports. I love seeing just pictures, and I love knowing how the game went, because if it turns out over the year that like, man, it'd be really cool if we added this rule, or you know what, this rule, I understand what you're doing, but can we tweak it like this? Tell me these things. And then for 2023, we can always change the rules there, right? So there you go. Thanks for listening, and get out there and play some Kommandant. Bye.